Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Invisible Line. Unless you're involved in the scientific community, the name Alfred Russel Wallace likely doesn't ring a bell. But you should know who he is because it was Alfred Wallace who collaborated with Charles Darwin on the idea of natural selection. They presented their findings together in London, but Darwin's book on the origin of species earned him a special place in history. Wallace could have published his own work, but he didn't, and so he never got the same recognition as Darwin. But Alfred did make some important contributions to science. He was the one who came up with the idea of the Wallace Line. It's an imaginary line that runs between Australia and the islands of Asia. The boundary line is a phenomenon nobody has ever been able to entirely explain. This is a mysterious line where one side has completely different animals than the other. On the Asian side of the line are only animals from Asian descent, while the animals on the other side of the line are all the weird ones in Australia. Animals never seem to cross the invisible border, which is why the creatures are so different on either side of it. It makes sense geologically speaking when you know that Australia and Asia were once connected. Then the continents drifted apart and water separated them, driving evolution in different directions. But even today, the animals simply don't cross the invisible line. Even birds, which have the easiest time migrating, seem to stay put. It's almost as if the animals feel a force keeping them on either side of the invisible line. They just don't cross it. Do you have any theories? Number 9. The Petrifying Well. There is an extremely creepy place in England where a witch once lived. Her name was Mother Shipton, and locals near Knaresborough called her a witch and a doomsday oracle. She wrote down all kinds of predictions for future horrors that would upset the world. But she was most likely just crazy. One of her predictions was that the world would come to an end in 1881. But that was over 100 years ago, and here we are. During her life, Mother Shipton lived in a dark forest cave, right next door to a well that can turn objects into stone. It's been a major tourist attraction since 1630. People used to come from all over England to place objects in the water of the well and wait for them to turn into stone. People truly thought the well was cursed by the dead witch. They called it the Petrifying Well, and it's a real place with a very real ability. Anything put in the water of the well, from a teddy bear to a shoe, takes about 5 months to turn into stone. How could any of this be possible? Scientists in the 20th century finally figured it out. The witch's magic well doesn't turn things into stone, it simply covers them in a stone-like coating. It does this thanks to the water's extremely high mineral content. It's an illusion, one that enforced the steadfast belief of witches and sorcery in medieval England. Number 8. Krakatoa. In 1883, Krakatoa erupted and killed 36,000 people. It was one of the deadliest natural disasters in the history of humanity. It was so intense that it cooled summer temperatures in the northern hemisphere because of all the ash in the sky. When Krakatoa erupted, it had been dormant for about 200 years. But 1883 was hardly the first time it blew its top. Ancient accounts detail how the Javanese people feared a place they called Fire Mountain. In 1680, Dutch sailors reported a mountain in Indonesia erupting with fury and flame. Evidence of those lava flows was later found in the 19th century. But the history of Krakatoa goes back even deeper. Krakatoa may have been responsible for a catastrophe in the 6th century. The catastrophe may have been so bad that it caused global chaos and made the Dark Ages even worse. Scientists can't say for sure, but they suspect Krakatoa has been killing people and ruining societies for thousands of years. When Krakatoa erupted, it generated the loudest sound ever recorded. It was approximately 10:02 a.m. on August 27th. The noise of its final explosions traveled all the way to Western Australia. The sound wave generated by the eruption circled the globe 7 times over the next 5 days. The big mystery with this epic volcano is that scientists don't know when it will blow its top next. It could be tomorrow, it could be 10 minutes from now. And now for number 7. But first, it's shout-out time! I want to give a big thank you to Susie Milford and Richard Ball. Thanks so much for watching and supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this. Number 7. The Morikiri Boulders. According to the ancient Maori legends of New Zealand, the Morikiri Boulders are the petrified remains of eel baskets that washed ashore after the sailing canoe named Arai Te Uru was destroyed at sea. The rocky shoals near the boulders were believed to be the petrified hull of the gigantic canoe. This was the way the indigenous people made sense of the bizarre stones found scattered across Ko'e Beach on the Otago coast. It's a protected stretch of coastline the government has deemed a scientific reserve. The main attraction is the collection of boulders, most of them perfectly spherical, as if someone dropped their bag of giant stone marbles in the sand. Researchers say they have been molded over millions of years, about 60 million to be exact. The Morikiri boulders weigh several tons each, with some up to 9 feet across. The perfectly spherical rocks lay hidden underground for millions of years until the waves, crashing against the mudstone of New Zealand, began to reveal them. While the legends say these stones are all that remain of a mythical canoe that could travel the ocean, scientists say they formed as calcite concretions. A small mass gradually built around a tiny nucleus, kind of like a snowball, but made of tiny particles of sediment instead. The mysterious stones are not the only intriguing part of the Otago coast. It's also home to a huge number of seaweed species not found anywhere else in the world, and stunning diversity of invertebrates and bryozoans. Have you ever been here or do you want to visit? Let me know in the comments. Number 6. The Molten Layer. Researchers have just discovered something fantastic underneath the surface of our planet. They have detected a previously unknown layer of molten rock beneath the crust. Scientists say the discovery could help them to understand how mountains are created and how earthquakes happen. The crust is the outermost layer of the Earth. It's the part we live on. Below it is the mantle, then the outer core, and finally the inner core. Everything on the surface sits on 15 major blocks of crust, which move and shift. These are known as tectonic plates. The newly discovered layer of molten rock is about 100 miles beneath the surface. It's underneath the tectonic plates. Scientists call the zone where the molten rock is hiding the asthenosphere. Researchers had suspected molten rock to be hiding underneath the tectonic plates for a while, but it wasn't until now that postdoctoral student Junlin Hua from the Jackson School of Geosciences confirmed its existence. Now, scientists have to deal with the fact that the asthenosphere is made of both solid rock and melted rock. Number 5. The Bloop. The most mysterious sound ever heard in the ocean is called the Bloop. It was recorded in 1997 on hydrophones across the Pacific Ocean. Underwater listening stations, some of them thousands of miles apart, picked up the exact same low-frequency noise. The listening stations were operated by scientists with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. In the years after the bloop was recorded, nobody could figure out what it was. The intensity of the sound was enough to spawn all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories. One of the most popular suggestions was that the bloop noise was made by an unknown marine organism. An animal, something nobody had ever heard before, made a noise that traveled across almost the entire Pacific Ocean. If such a creature existed, it would be biblical. The noise was so loud, so powerful, people thought the elder gods were waking up from their slumber inside the earth. The NOAA was very vocal about their opinion on the matter. They didn't think the bloop came from Cthulhu or some other monstrosity at the bottom of the ocean. And in 2005, they finally confirmed that the noise came from the cracking of an ice shelf in Antarctica. The NOAA says the bloop was made by an ice quake. An iceberg cracked and broke away from a glacier in Antarctica, making a terrific sound. Though of course, not everybody believes the NOAA. Many still think there is something sinister lurking in our oceans that they don't want us knowing about. What do you think the bloop was? Let me know in the comments. Number 4. The Bloodwood Tree. There is a tree in South Africa that bleeds when you cut it. It isn't a mystery, but it is certainly one of Mother Nature's creepiest coincidences. The tree sap is the same color as human blood. When you hit the trunk with a wood axe, your blade comes away dark red, as if you just severed one of the tree's arteries. These are called bloodwood trees. There are several other bloodwood trees in East Africa too, all of them reportedly on their way to extinction. It's a protected tree species in South Africa, but they are still harvested for their blood-red sap. Furniture makers love their wood too, but this sap is something special. It can be used in coloring, and some even use it in beauty products. Local African legends say the blood of the tree can be used to treat stomach aches and heal eye problems. People even rub it all over their body when they get ringworm. It's because of these bizarre myths of the red sap's healing powers that the bloodwood tree has been harvested almost to the brink of extinction. As for why the tree bleeds, it's because the sap serves the same function as our own blood. When the tree is hurt, it sends sap to the location of the wound to heal it. The bloodwood tree is a grim reminder that trees are living things too. Number 3. The Devils Kettle. The Devils Kettle Falls is an intriguing natural mystery. The gorgeous waterfall is located just a few miles from the border of the United States and Canada. The Brule River, after flowing through Minnesota, reaches the north shore of Lake Superior and tumbles 800 feet from a steep rock outcropping. One side of the waterfall is diverted at the cliff through a narrow channel, where it tumbles down a seemingly black hole and disappears. The water that continues straight falls into the basin below just like a normal waterfall. The mystery is that nobody knows where the water being diverted goes after it's swallowed by the black hole. People have tried very hard to figure it out. Scientists who believe in logic and reason say there must be an exit point somewhere underneath Lake Superior. The water can't just vanish, but nothing they've ever done to locate the exit point has proved fruitful. They've used ping pong balls and marked logs. They've even poured dye down the waterfall, assuming they would see where the color came out. Nothing has worked. One guy even rappelled 26 feet down into the hole, but said he couldn't see the bottom anywhere. It just kept going like a bottomless pit of doom. In 2017, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources claimed they solved the case. They believe the water that vanishes into the Devil's Kettle comes back out in the stream right below the waterfall. They think it isn't going very far and shoots back up through an unknown hole somewhere to rejoin the stream. It isn't confirmed yet, but soon enough, the mystery of the bottomless pit could be at an end. Number 2. The Fairy Chimneys. In Turkey's Cappadocia region, there is a surreal landscape dotted with towering rock formations known as fairy chimneys. These magnificent rock structures are known for changing color as the sun sets. And while they may look like the ruins of some bizarre city carved out of the rock by early humans, scientists say the formations are completely natural. Ancient volcanic eruptions millions of years ago covered Cappadocia in a massive blanket of ash. The ash solidified over time, becoming what's known as tuff. Then, as the wind and the water battered down the solidified tuff, it started to carve out shapes. Imagine a huge block of sand in the rain, slowly melting into a variety of weird shapes. That is what scientists say happened here. It's just that the final result, or rather the result people see today, looks like a city of rocky skyscrapers. The region has also seen its own human intervention. 2,000 years ago, persecuted Christians fled here and carved a network of caves and underground homes in the tuff. The fairy circles formed naturally, but underneath them is a honeycomb of tunnels and secret hiding places. Number 1. The Green Flash. The green flash is a phenomenon not many people ever get to witness. It occurs only for about 2 seconds at a time. As the sun is in its final phase of setting on the horizon, it will suddenly change color. It flashes a bright green light before sinking beyond the horizon. It's a quick spectacle, so fast you can miss it if you blink. Scientists from Cornell University say the green flash is caused by the light of the sun refracting through the Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere bends the sunlight, separates its colors, and then for 2 fast seconds, the sun's light is green instead of yellow or red. Scientists compared it to the way a prism can separate a rainbow into different colors. But scientists don't know everything. In 1929, polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd witnessed a green sunset for 35 minutes while in Antarctica. He and his crew all claimed to have seen it. The sun turned fully green for over half an hour. Scientists think it must have been a mirage, but they are having a tough time explaining it. Thanks for watching! Which of these incredible natural mysteries did you find the most fascinating? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye!